try to clean up and stay organized. I know that's kind of hard to do for me sometimes, but I'm getting there. Sometimes you can teach an old dog new tricks. So, with that, I want to give kind of an update because everything has been just kind of like shuttered from one table to another, to another, to another. And yeah, I think I'm getting to a place of where, yeah, I'm keeping stuff clean and putting things in its place, and it's working out pretty good. So I kind of wanted to show off a little bit and how I did some rearranging, and instead of trying to, like that table there, trying to put everything on that one table, I kind of branched out a little bit, and then I put stuff away. Hey, we got howdy. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. Glad you're aboard. This is going to be kind of a short video because the next part of this is I'm going to take apart my computer, try to put it on the desk. I've got a Mac Mini with a hub and all that stuff, and so I want to try to make it a little bit nicer. And the stuff that I don't use, put that stuff away. And because I'm kind of like the guy that was like, oh well, you know, this is a prime example. This right here, I made this here. It was a 3D printed part for a mask that I did, Borderlands mask, and it ends up this was gonna, but I don't need this. But I thought, well, I'll save this because I might need this. And it's like, I'm sitting here and this has been here for weeks on end. And it's like, I stare at it and I look at it. It's like, man, that turned out really good. And it's like, yeah, this is for that piece on that helmet, but I don't need it anymore. And it's like, but I'll keep it. I need it. I might need it. I might need it. And so I'm going to hold on to it. And it's like, I don't need it. So I'm going to throw this away. Just to prove, here's the trash can. And we're not going to dig it out of the trash. We're not going to dig it out of the trash. There's another thing. Here's another thing. This here, see that? It's got a little piece in there, and it's got a magnet in there. And what I ended up doing is I actually made this. Hey, we've got going for painting or whoever it is. It's real small because I'm doing this on my phone. So anyway, it ends up that this little thing here was supposed to be like a microphone. Greetings from Hungary. Wow. Well, welcome to the stream. How I'm going to try to clean up and be better and be more organized. But this thing has been sitting on my desk for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months now, and I keep thinking, but it's made for something else that I don't use, and it's just a simple 3D printed thing, and I was going to do a 1/4 insert, but again, I'm not going to use this, so why has it been on my desk for 4 or 5 months or whatever it is? It pains me, but we're gonna throw that away. So I've been going through and looking at stuff and saying, okay, well, I haven't used it in like 2 months, 3 months, 4, 5, 6 months. You know, there's definitely things I'm going to throw away. And then, yeah, I've got a lot of this done. So I wanted to show you what I've ended up doing. So let's take a look. And yeah, we got kind of the cool little lighting, the mood lighting and all that stuff. But I've made some changes. So let's take a look. So here we have it. Of course, we've got the Iron Man poster. We've got various things that we're going to paint. And like these guys here, I know it's hard to see them because they're all black. But I've got 1, 2, 3, and I've got 4 things that I got to paint. And 5, 6, 7, we got 7 things I got to paint. But that's all I'm going to have on this table. I'm not going to fill up this table with any more stuff because it would be too crowded. This is going to be my daughter's, so I made that for her. And so when she gets back from Hawaii, she's going to give that to her. She'll have some fun with that. And then this is what I ended up doing. So I kind of organized things for the most part, just going through, got some different models and things like that, some other stuff that I end up having. And then there is the desk that we normally see. And then, yeah, I got a little folding table. So we kind of got like a little L type of setup here. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So that way I've got a little bit more space here and I can have stuff. So I can do painting stuff here. I can do some assembly stuff here. I've actually got some lights and I had some of this stuff that was, the scaffolding and stuff that was laying around and not doing anything. And I was like, I can actually use that. So for example, I can do like a top-down camera. I can do a over-the-shoulder type of look, kind of like what I have on this one here. And yeah, everything's a lot better. Cleaned it all up. It's actually way better. Some people probably look at this and say, oh, that is just horribly messy. And this is actually really, really clean for me. So this is a big deal. And that is super clean. That is super clean. And then my desk over here, this is actually really good because I limit myself to, well, that goes in there. So I limit myself to these things on the desk. And actually I can take this and I can put that away because it's just a rechargeable, it's just a battery. And I don't really need it. So I could probably put that somewhere else. But all of the other stuff is pretty much, now I got to put the camera. So I got to take this and get rid of that and this stuff and put that back where it goes. But yeah, so there it is. So minus the camera and minus the battery, I have been rocking this pretty much the way it is. Sans the, oops, I got to take these two guys. We'll just put them back over here. And we've got a big pile of shame. We've got a lot of stuff we need to paint. Yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. We do have some stuff that we've already painted. A lot of stuff there, which is pretty good. And then that stuff there. But then, I got some other stuff down there and other stuff there. So slowly but surely, I am organizing all this stuff. But for the most part, this is the cleanest I have ever been in my life, except where I was in the military. So, yeah, it turns out pretty good. So we're going to continue doing the clean and organization during 2026, and we'll just keep rocking on with that. So, yeah, that's kind of the update that we got going on. And then there is some stuff that I do need to work out because this right here, like some of those things on the bottom shelf, I need to go through those. There's stuff in there that I haven't touched for a long, long time. And so some of the stuff are parts. So I'm going to keep that stuff. Some of the stuff is just like stuff you hang on, kind of like that one little piece that I had that you're probably never going to use it ever, but you keep it because you might. Yeah, I'm going to try to get rid of that. So I got to go through those two bottom rows there to get over that stuff and kind of do a final scrub through, and then I should be good. I've got some stuff over here in the corner that needs to go away. I think I'm going to strip out that LED light because it's really weak, but I'll use that on a model. But the rest of the stuff is going to get thrown away. So I'm doing really good. My wife is happy with me. But everything else turns out pretty good. Yes, I am happy. I'm happy with it. So that's what we got going on. We're checking out all this stuff. We're cleaning up as we go. And we are enjoying ourselves. I apologize for the light. It seems whenever I use my cell phone to do stuff, there's always a little bit of color difference between that and the Facecam 4K that I end up using. So yeah, that's what we have. It's actually very, very clean. And like this little basket here, this is all I can put on my desk. This is the catch-all. This is like the junk drawer. Hey, Terry. Terry pops up and says hi. So I can keep whatever I can put in this basket, and that's it. And even then, honestly, really? I mean, some of this stuff, what is some of this stuff? Oh, okay. Here's the reason. These are some filters for the 4K, Facecam 4K, so that's good. I'll keep that. Little piece of Velcro, we'll throw that away. Another piece of Velcro. And it's so bad because it's like, I could use this in the future sometime, but I gotta throw it away because I'm just gonna throw it away. I got some tiny little models of some stuff that are just horribly printed, and I gotta throw that away. Got a bigger one. I've already got one of these on the top of my computer that is on there, so I can throw that away. Here's some other good ones. Here's some wooden dowels. Wooden dowels that I've had in this thing they were in the desk. I've had them for about almost 2 years now, so I need to get rid of those. Let's see. When am I ever going to need a bread twist tie? I don't know, but apparently, because they use these for when they bundle up cables or whatever, and I save them because I don't know why. So we're going to throw that away. So, and then some of the other stuff in here, like I got nuts and bolts, like this thing. This is a little mount for webcam that I don't even have the webcam anymore. And I thought, oh, I could use this. And it's like, honestly, I've had this around for almost 3 years, about 2.5 years now, and I haven't used it since. So I'm going to go out on the limb and say that's going to go for trash as well. I got some magnets. I've got Allen key. I got some stuff that's good. Little USB cord with C connector on it. I've got these things from the paint racks over there that are made out of like that little stuff over there. I don't need these. So some of the other stuff, SD cards. I can keep that. I can keep that. I've got, like, how many of you have got things for your cell phone holder that I've got like 5 or 6 of them already. So I'm going to toss that. Tape. I probably need to find a place where I can put the tape, because really I don't need to have tape just out in the open air. I can just put it on, just put it right there. That's where it needs to be, right there. It doesn't need to be cluttering my desk. So a little bit better. There it is. And then this, we got that down to 2, so we can do that. Put this here because that's the mic that I normally use. So everything has got its place. I can actually put this in the drawer. Now my drawer is pretty good. It's not too bad, but I do have some crap. Like, look at this. I've got this other mount, the 1/4-20. I'll never use this. I will absolutely never use this. And even then, it's like my brain's starting to think, oh, well, you could use this for that or this or whatever. And then, like, I'm already thinking, there's this 1/4-20 that's got this cool little handle on it that, do I really need to save that? No, I don't. I'm just going to throw it away. Let's see, what else crap do I got in here? I got razor blades. This is pretty good, so we'll put this in here. And we will call that done. I've had a piece of paper in there for, I think, over a month. I haven't used it. So yeah, that's what we ended up doing. We're trying to keep things neat and clean, and I don't know, see how we could do this just to keep it. So many people on YouTube have these awesome workspaces and paint stations, and everything is like in pristine condition, and it's like everything is at right angles and corners and this and that, and it's just like I always want to do stuff like that, but I would just end up having so much crap, and it's like, ugh, I can't do that. I got to stop that. So 2026 is a year that we're going to be smoothing out. The year we're going to be downsizing. We're going to be putting things away of where they need to be. And yeah, matter of fact, I still got it like this camera. I mean, this is a 4K webcam, but I'm not using it. That's the problem. And so I have it plugged in here, and it's just taking up space. So I can take this and, I complained about the cables underneath my desk. Well, now I can get rid of some cables and make things a little bit nicer. And then with that, we can find a place to put this, put it in a drawer, out of sight, out of mind, and then if I ever need to, use this Sony, what's it, FDX, AX53 or whatever the hell it is, Handycam, what is it? I mean, it's expensive. Which one is this? AX53 or whatever it is. Yeah, FDR AX53, that's what this is. So I can find a place for this to where I have a drawer. There it is. It's all done. So we are good. We are good on this. I feel better. So with that, I think things are going to be more organized, which is going to be a good thing. And then as we continue through 2026, we'll just end up doing more stuff, but I'm going to try to stay organized. So yeah, like I got a Blue Yeti microphone that I'm not using because I mostly use the wireless, but I'm still holding out on that because maybe it would be good. This isn't even plugged in. It's not even plugged in, and this thing is just taking up space on my, throwing out stuff is a great feeling. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if I could plug this into my iPhone. I don't know. I mean, Blue Yetis, it's a good microphone. I don't know, I have to look into that. But you get my point, is that eventually you get to a place of where, the stuff that you don't use, you got to put it away. You either throw it away or get rid of it or store it, something like that. And keep things a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. And eventually I'm going to get to where my computer is under here, and I'm thinking about putting that on the desk because, and that depends, because I got to rewire a bunch of stuff. So I'm actually got to shut everything down, close everything. I got some cables coming in. They're supposed to be coming in this Sunday or Monday, whatever it is, some USB-C cables for my cameras. So those will go on the USB-C ports instead of using up the USB-A ports. Because when I do that, that seems to cause some conflicts, especially if I use a hub and I plug a bunch of them in there. So there's that. And I've got a drawer for this. So I've got a drawer for all my cables. And boom, we're good. Okay, I feel much better. I think that'll stay there. I like like that there. And then I got a few things. I got that. This is, oh, that's for that that camera that I reviewed, or not the camera, but the stuff I reviewed. Which this actually has got to go over here. And there's still stuff that I need to check out and do. So, can you hear me now? So anyway, yeah, that's where we're gonna end up going. We're gonna continue on cleaning, and hopefully that'll be the thing. Other things that we got going on, we were planning to take a trip to the Philippines in February. Now that's being pushed back to March. So we're going to do that in March. And that way the prices are a little bit cheaper. Yeah, we still, even though I'm retired, we are retired, we still try to pinch some pennies and, use some coupons and stuff like that. And so, yeah, if we can save $20, $30 a night on a place, yeah, we'll postpone our trip a little bit and try to save a little bit of extra money. Other thing that we got going on, for those of you who don't know, I live in Korea, so there's that. And then, hey, Korea looks cold. Yes, it does. It does. Korea is a little cold, just a little bit. Well, I was going to look on my phone to see what it is, but yeah, it's definitely getting cold. So, but we're retired, so it's not too bad. We have underground parking here, so the good thing of that is, we don't have to scrape snow off of the car. The car isn't sitting out in the sun, So the joys of underground parking are really good. And then, yeah, so I like that part. But our trip to the Philippines is going to be in March, so we've got that scheduled. I've got a doctor thing that I got to do up in Seoul, Samsung Medical Center, kind of get like a physical and all this stuff where they'll do a bunch of tests to see if there's anything wrong with you and to see if I have any propensity for, I don't know, bad things. The other thing I got to get is one of those procedures that men do not like at all. And you might think that's the prostate exam, but that's easy compared to the colonoscopy that I've got to get done. But the good thing is they put you out here in Korea. When I was here in Korea as a service member, I ended up getting a bladder infection or whatever, and then they did a colonoscopy for some reason. I can't remember what it was, and they didn't put me under it. I felt everything. It was horrible. It was, yeah, that's a one-way exit. Nothing is supposed to go in there. So yeah, they better put me out for that. So we got that going on. Oh joy, getting older. You gotta love that. The GoPro on the garden hose. Yes. You never realize how much you want technology to make things smaller and smaller until you get a colonoscopy. Yeah. And I've been putting it off. It's been, 3, 4, 5 years? 5 years. So I definitely need to get that done. So we're going to knock that out, get that done and over with, and we should be good to go. Other than that, what are some other, we got some crazy stuff going on? Still looking at possibly getting another printer, looking at that Prusa Core 1L. So we're saving up nickels and dimes and whatever's in the coffee fund that's gonna go towards buying printers and towards the printer fund. And so yeah, we got that going on. Let's see, what else? Oh, we're gonna buy an apartment probably this year. We got to do our taxes. We're probably gonna buy an apartment this year, so that way we'll end up renting that place out and give us a little bit of extra cash. And then that way, that'll help fund, part of that money will help fund my hobbies. So that'll be good. And then, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. The won rate, the exchange rate for USD to Korean won is Currently now it's 14.49, which has come down a little bit. It used to be almost 1,500 won to the dollar, which was really high. So that was really good for people like us that had US dollars, not good for Korean people. So, but yeah, they put a bunch of money into some banks and did some stuff, I think in December and whatever, so they can get a good report card and, credit ratings for the country and things like that. So they did some stuff and that kind of pushed the won rate down a little bit, which is fine. But what is it, the beginning of February, so in just a few weeks from now, we will have our money and we'll be able to purchase an apartment. So we'll see how that goes. We're either going to buy cash and we're going to look into possibly financing. So we'll see how that goes. I'm thinking because we can leverage, and depending if we can get financing, that is something that we need to look into. The exchange rate is not good for tourists and expats right now. It's not too bad. I mean, like I said, it was almost 1,500 won to the dollar. It's only 14.49 right now. They think it'll go down a little bit more, but it'll probably stay probably 14.35, 1,400 is what I'm expecting. And then February will hit and March, and then it should go back up. We'll see what happens. So Terry's talking about, in Thailand. Oh, okay. Yeah, it ends up, I gotta get some new glasses. These suck. No, Terry says, my bad. No. It's not your bad. But yeah, that's another place we want to go visit again is Thailand. We want to go see Chiang Mai. We've been to Bangkok, we've been to Phuket, we've been to Phi Phi Island. That was a long time ago. But we want to go up to Chiang Mai in northern Thailand and check that out. But man, they got some crazy stuff going on in Thailand. So it's kind of out of the running for a retirement destination as a backup retirement plan for us. I mean, we're retired here in Korea, but just in case, we kind of came to that thing and so much crazy stuff going on in Thailand. It's like, yeah, they don't know the left from the right. They've got all kinds of crazy stuff and banking and freezing accounts and immigration is changing. And now I just saw a video where it's talking about from a lawyer over there who's talking about in renewing your visa, you're going to have to get a letter from your neighbor saying that your neighbors or some other crazy crap. It's like, seriously, really? No chance of that being abused, right? Oh, I'm not going to give you a letter unless you pay me, Yeah, that's going to happen. That's going to be a thing. So other than that, yeah, I think that's kind of the big stuff that we got going on. Looking forward to the Philippines. I think we're going to go to Boracay and maybe Bohol. Definitely Boracay. We'll go there. We're probably looking about because I want to swim with whale sharks. That's another thing that I want to do. That's to get that off the bucket list. Says, did you check out the Sunlu PLA 2.0? Yes, I did. Matter of fact, that looks very interesting. So yeah, stronger than regular PLA, more durable, blah, 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 all that stuff. That looks pretty interesting. So I've looked it up and it's a tad expensive, especially coming here to Korea since it's got to get delivered to Korea. It's a little expensive, but it's not out of the ballpark expensive. So I think after a little bit more time is when it becomes more mainstream and more people use it, that it'll probably be, there'll be more availability of that, but it looks pretty good. So yeah, that is another thing with technology is that not only do we have improvement with 3D printers, we also have improvement with filaments as well. So yeah, but thanks you for that link. I appreciate that. Talking about improvements on 3D printers, Creality came out with the Spark X i7. It's a Bamboo A1 is what it is. It's a Bamboo A1 clone. It looks almost exactly like it, except The CFS is in a box, and instead of feeding from the bottom, it feeds from the top. So it's a little bit better designed than the current CFS system that they have. But it's a bed slinger. And yeah, but there are some issues with it. And it's, as we know, Creality is one for, and I think it's like $3.99, something like that. And it's less than, as a combo, than the Bamboo A1. And it does have some things on paper, on the specs, that make it look great. But the problem is some of the reviews and some of the people that have gone over the i7 by Creality, again, it's the classic. They push out a machine too early, and the customers, whoever gets it first, are going to be the beta testers. So it's like, seriously, it's an A1. But I understand they need to come up with something to make money. Maybe they're doing that as something, let's feed this to the masses and hopefully everybody will bite. Something pissed me off big time. And let me tell you, let me take a swig. You can hit the like and subscribe button. Appreciate the likes. So anyway, I'm running through social media. I'm retired, I can do that. So I'm running through social media and I see this video that has the Spark i7. And I'm like, okay, well, it's a cute little, thing. It's not, it's this mode. So I'm looking at it on my phone. And this guy's like, oh, this is the best and the greatest printer, blah, 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 doing his little spiel. And I'm like, interesting. And the guy's doing the unboxing. I forget his name, but he's doing the unboxing. And it's like, he's rattling off some of the specs like he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's using some words that is like, no, that's not the thing. He obviously misremembered the specs on the sheet as he's doing this unboxing. It's just really, really odd. And so he's going through and he's, oh, this is the best out there and it's the greatest and blah, blah, blah. And then it's clearly by the end of his little video short thing that he did, I was like, wait a second. So I left a comment on him and I said, you said this is the best and the greatest. What are you comparing this to? Dude comes back and says, this is my first printer. And it's like, I find that disingenuous. You're making a video claiming that this is the best and the greatest, and this is your very first printer. You have no experience whatsoever than the unboxing that you're doing on that video, and it's not even plugged in. He was still doing the unboxing and claiming that it was the best and the greatest. That's what he said. And I was just like, you guys, seriously? You're trying to make it sound like you're some guy who's got a lot of experience in 3D printing. This is your first printer and you haven't even plugged it in yet. How do you know it's the best? There's a number of reviews of people who have the i7 where it shows banding issues that are really bad, where the walls, there's gaps in the walls and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of problems that, hopefully can be ironed out with firmware. But it's a bed slinger and it's like the CFS Lite, people are having problems with that. And I like the design of the CFS. It's, it's kind of like turning the regular CFS upside down. So instead of having to draw the filament from the top and then where the reel kind of pops open and like that, it feeds from the bottom up so you don't have that problem. So I think it's a way better design. But, some of this stuff, they got a quick release nozzle on it, but it looks janky. It really looks like somebody's like, hey, let's just put a latch on there. It looks really, really rough. The sad part is he's probably getting paid for that video. I know. That's the thing that irks me. I mean, I've been putting out feelers, just to be honest with y'all, I would love to review products. I have a background in electronics. I've mentioned it before in the past. I worked for the state of Colorado. I was in the military and did communications and FM, AM, UHF, VHF radio, things like that. When I worked for the state of Colorado, um, electronics. I wired in classrooms and in office buildings with, LANs and computer ports and racks and routers and the whole nine yards. Uh, Fiber optics, I've done that, where stun fences, we did all the electronics work for that. So I've got some pretty good experience on installing and maintaining those things. We're talking industrial grade cameras, DVR systems with redundant backups and so on and so forth. I've probably forgotten most of it, but I think I could do a real good review on products, and I put out emails after emails, and I put the little media kit together that shows, how many viewers I have, views on my videos, and how many subscribers, and this and that. I have a dedicated channel to, 3D printing and resin and hobby painting and stuff like that. And then I see people that have like 1,000 subscribers, and companies are sending them products, and they have a waiting list of products that they have to review. I don't get it. I mean, obviously I'm missing something, but I even gone on Reddit and said, hey, I see these people that are starting off and doing reviews for products and so on and so forth. They are 1, 2, 3,000 subscribers, maybe, and they're getting products. They're, hey, have this printer do a review, whatever you want to do, it's cool with us. I'm putting out emails and saying, hey, I've got time and blah, 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 the whole nine yards. I can showcase your this and that. I don't know, maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot, because in my emails, I do say that I do honest reviews. I mean, is that, maybe I shouldn't be honest? I don't know. I don't know. It's, but I got a couple companies. One isn't a 3D printer company. The other one, there's a possibility I might be able to. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And again, I've had some other Chinese companies approach me and say, hey, make a good review. We'll send you the product, make us a good review. And it's like, I don't make good reviews. I make reviews, and whatever it pans out to be, good, bad, or indifferent, I'll let people know. Well, these are kind of like no-name Chinese companies and whatever. They're not the Bamboos, they're not the Crealities, they're not the Anycubic or anything. So, when I tell them that, I just don't hear back from them again. Apparently they just want a good review to pump their stuff. And, there's some of those companies where I look at the products and it's like, yeah, I just tell them I'm emphatic that I do honest reviews, and then they never answer back again. So that's kind of a good thing. But yeah, I just don't understand how that works with, people that have 1 or 2,000 subscribers, people that I've seen start their YouTube channels, get a first, have their own first printer, and then next thing you know, they got 5 or 6, 7, 8 different printers. They've done a bunch of reviews, and it's like, how does this happen? I just don't get it. I don't know. A little frustrated, but maybe obviously I'm missing something. So, like I said, I got a media kit showing the views and subscribers and this and that and the demographics and all the whole nine yards, little graphic thing that was recommended. But it's just like some people I've contacted and asked them, how the hell did you do this? And they're just like, just keep sending out emails. It's the luck of the draw. That's what one guy told me. He says, I was doing the exact same thing as you. I was pissed off, frustrated. And next thing you know, he just kept bothering him. I guess, I don't know what it is. Is it like the squeaky wheel gets the grease? Is that the deal? I guess I just need to be squeaky. So we'll send out more emails. So with that, I would really like to review some more products and stuff like that. But as it is now, there's a few things that I've reviewed that companies have supplied me with, but it's not many at all. I think I did that little entry-level laser engraver, which is like the cheapest laser engraver you could ever get. And I gave an honest review on it, um, and a couple other things. But the majority of the stuff has been everything I bought. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, hopefully in 2026, I'll kind of advance on in trying to just keep emailing companies and saying, hey, I've got one company that I emailed, they responded back. It looks like I might be able to do a review on a product that is hobby related, which I think would be pretty cool. And then I definitely see some use in it. I just don't send out emails to every swinging company out there, even if I don't like their product. So I am a little bit selective. And if there's products out there that are just like, if I can look at it and say, yeah, I'm not even going to bother sending an email. Places like Airy One with the X400, their 3D printer that was, Kickstarter cash grab. And that thing's disappeared from like the face of the earth. You see zero people using that. Even the big YouTubers who did the reviews said, "Oh, this is wonderful, this is great," and blah blah blah. And then now the Kickstarter's over, and then there's a ton of people that canceled all their orders, like massive amounts. You never see anybody using those things again. So what's that tell you? And that says something. I think when you do a review and you get a product and you do the review and then you're like so impressed that you keep it and you see it in the background of people using it and they say, well, hey, this was the printer I was using. I got this for a review. Now it's my go-to printer. Vanish like a fart in the wind. Absolutely. But yeah, so when, and that's how I tell when people are good at doing reviews, that do honest reviews, because they'll tell you and say, hey, I used to use this, and now we have this, and now this is my go-to printer, or this is my go-to product of, said company or whatever, because it's the best one that I've had so far. Those people I appreciate. The people that I don't appreciate, and there are some big YouTubers that they will get paid to do reviews and then you never see the product again. Your definition of integrity doesn't match their definition. Probably. That has always been a problem my entire life. If you want the truth, they'll tell you, you can't handle the truth, That's what it ends up being. So I don't know. It is what it is. If a product lives up to its claims, tell everybody. Let them know. If there's problems or issues with it, tell them and let them know. Let the person make an informed decision. And yeah, it is what it is. So I don't know. It's just a little frustrating at times. But not to the point of where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna box up all my cameras and everything and stop doing videos. No, I like the process of making videos. I like doing the live streams and, painting and making stuff and, helping some people out. I mean, I'm old. Come on, let's face it, I'm almost 60. And I like it when we have older people that will contact me, shoot me an email and say, hey, I saw you doing this and I got into this and I really enjoy it, whether it's working out or printers or whatever it is. And they appreciate that, or people that are planning to be expats here in Korea like I am, that a small niche, super small niche, there's not many of us, but there's a bunch of people who have come over to Korea and retired just like we did because they saw my videos and they were like, yeah, I worked at a soul-sucking job and I was up late last night and I saw your video and I'm in the same situation. We could actually retire comfortably and live comfortably in Korea. We think we could do that. It's cool to get, emails like that, or, I bought a 3D printer and I started doing this and this or whatever. I've had people send me emails and stuff about how to make me better at 3D printing or painting or whatever it is. So, it's reciprocal. It goes back and forth. And that's the part that I like about it. So yeah, I don't think I'll give up on my YouTube channel. No, I'll keep doing it. Um, I've had some people tell me, "Oh, your streams are too long," and blah 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 blah. It's not doesn't meet the algorithm. It's like, you know what? Um, I get that at some point, but if you just enjoy it, just do it, and then other people that enjoy the same thing, eventually they'll come around. You'll get a solid fan base, and we got a few people that frequent the streams and stuff like that. So, and the cool thing is everybody's cool. So even though there's not a ton of people that watch my streams, the people that do and interact, y'all are cool. So it's a win-win. It it really is a win-win. But I would really like to do more product reviews. So I guess we'll just shoot out some more emails this year, and I guess maybe every quarter we'll see what happens. Just shoot another one out, and you know, see what we can do. And then whatever products I buy, like if I buy the Core 1L, obviously I'll do an unboxing and a review on that. Um, you know, just more content and stuff that I use to make and whatever. So yeah. So organization, cleanliness, pumping out emails, having fun, enjoying life, colonoscopies, buying an apartment, going to Philippines, maybe Thailand. Also looking probably going to Japan. Of course, when the weather gets a little bit nicer, take a little trip over there from Korea to Japan on a ferry. That should be good. So yeah, that's it. That's what we got going on. So anyway, just wanted to finish up and kind of let y'all know what is going on here in the studio. And yeah, we're going to be updating, getting another camera. So as soon as, what is the question is, today is 8 January. So usually about the 15th, we pay our bills and then I get my new allowance. I get an allowance every month. So I'm going to end up getting a new camera. And hopefully that'll be for the paint station over there, and to where it has a real good autofocus. And so that'll be something I look forward to. And then of course I'm going to rewire everything, and I got some more wires coming in, so there won't be, I guess, software conflicts, by using a hub and yeah, that whole thing. It's been yeah. Don't. If you have a computer, then you plug a hub into it and plug a bunch of crap into the hub, apparently that can cause some problems. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to scrap everything, start over, new cables, USB-C cables instead of USB-A cables, and we'll see if we can get this thing to work to where we can get, well, this camera here, so that'd be one, that one there, 2, 3, and then a long one that could go into the print room, that would be 4. So if I can get 4 cameras, maybe even 5, depends on how many ports there are, USB-C ports there are on the Mac Mini. We'll see how that works out, and yeah, but we're going to try to get 4. So that's the plan. That's the current plan. So we'll see what happens. Alrighty, since it is almost 5 o'clock here in Korea, what do we got? We got a comment. It says, just finished work, was about to decide, yeah, forget the haters and keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I will. Unfortunately, the comment, let me see if I can bring that up. Because I missed that one comment. Let me see, where? Have to hit the volume. Oh, we got Sultan. Sultan was the one, okay. He just finished work, was about to head home, but decided to relax on YouTube for a bit and saw it's cold here in Korea today. Still lovely. And Steve, you're a good man. Oh, well, so are you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be good. I think 2026 is going to be a good year. We're going to enjoy it, and regardless of what goes on, we're just going to keep driving on and having fun. And, Worst case scenario, I just hang around a small group of cool people like you all. I'm good with that. So, yeah. George pops up and says, I found out that I can fly to Japan and go to Disney World there for a week, cheaper than going to the one in Florida for one weekend. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. That's part of my time growing up was in San Bernardino, California, and we would go to Disneyland in California. And I remember when tickets were like $20, $30, $40. And even then, my grandfather was like, $40 for a ticket. That's insane. And now it's like, holy crow. Matter of fact, you're the second person that has told me that it's cheaper to go to Japan and go to Disneyland than it is to do it in the United States, Disney World or Disneyland or whatever. So, yeah, that is something. That is something. Everything's cheaper here. I mean, that was another draw of retiring over here in Korea, was that we're paying half of the expenses of what we were paying in the United States. So, that's a bonus. That is a bonus. And I think we're getting to a place of where, I love the United States. I'm a citizen of the United States. I love the United States. I love the rights that are afforded to citizens of the United States. But I think there's better ways to do things. And since being in other countries, been to Panama, been to Thailand, been to Japan, been to Taiwan, been to Korea, and a couple other places, you see the way things are done and how things can be improved in the United States. And you're wondering, well, why isn't the United States doing that? That's kind of frustrating. We look at the education system. If you look at the education system in Japan or Korea or the top 5 countries who have the highest scores in math and science and reading and all that stuff, they're not at that level because their governments are throwing tons of money into education administration. It's high standards. You got to do homework and you got to just copy and paste whatever they are doing and bring it into the United States, into the schools in the US, and our scores will get better. That's all there is to it. So, let's see. Got another comment. Which is cheaper for a US national, Japan or Korea? It depends. If you're talking about Tokyo and things like that, holy crow, that can be expensive. But kind of like going to Seoul. If we go to Seoul, you can go to restaurants up there. It's still a way better deal than in the United States. But Japan, I've only spent a number of days in Japan when I was younger, before I got married, and the cost of everything was crazy over there. But then again, I was in Tokyo. I ended up hooking up with a Japanese businessman. We started talking and whatever. And it ends up, he took me out to clubs and restaurants and all that stuff, and we're talking, and he's a great guy. But he spent enough money. He had a wad of cash that could choke a horse, and he spent that, and he just loved the fact that I was a U.S. service member, and he wanted to say thank you, and he didn't have many American friends, so we had a great time. But everything was expensive. Over here in Korea, I'm sure they have clubs in Seoul that are uber expensive, but it depends on where you go. So I would say probably Korea's cheaper because you're going to get a better exchange rate now, but that could change. I don't know. Let's see. Sultan says, you just made 2 new friends at a coffee shop today, a Korean and a German. Now I know why LG stands for LG. Life is good, indeed, in Korea. Yes, that's cool. Yeah, Korean and a German. That is cool. That's what I like about it. I mean, we're pretty reserved in regards to the people that we hang around with. We're really particular on that. You touch a stove and you get burned a bunch of times. Eventually, you're not going to put your hand on the stove. So we're pretty cautious about who we pal around with. And yeah, but you all are great, so I appreciate that. And then, but yeah, it's just Korea just works for us. And in case you're wondering, my wife has Korean ancestry, and that's how we're able to stay here on a visa. She has the F4 visa, I have an F1 visa, and there's a very small niche of people who are able to do that. You have other people like Sultan and other people who are in Korea on different types of visas, but for like people like us, we're a very small group. Um, but still, I think there's like 7 or 8 different couples that have come to Korea or going to come to Korea within the next year or two. I think that number is up to like 8 now. George says there's also a culture of personal discipline in other countries that is missing in the U.S. That's true. That is true. I think Korea is more like the 50s in the United States when it comes to hard work ethics, when it comes to being polite, having respect, not rocking the boat, being mindful of others. That's a big thing here in Korea. You go on public transportation, it's not like public transportation in the United States. Holy crow. Um, it's almost like going to a church. When we take the train to go from Pyeongtaek GJ, um, Pyeongtaek train station to Seoul, and you get on the train, it's quiet. People have their headphones in, nobody's yelling, nobody's laughing. It's almost like you're in a church or in a synagogue or a mosque or whatever. You're in some place where there's reverence and you're mindful of the people around you. And it's nice because it's just like you can relax, you know. I really hated it when we were in the States. And, even when we were on Hawaii, it was a little bit better in Hawaii than Oahu, but in the States, public transportation or trains or buses or stuff like that, always crazy people, loud, obnoxious, causing trouble, throwing stuff. It's just, you look around at the society in the United States and it's just like, where did it all go? We used to have respect for each other. Now we don't. So that's another reason, another good reason why I like Korea is it has those old school traditional values. Um, and those are good things. Those are good things. Illinois says common courtesies are common sense in the Far East. Generally, yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Yeah. Um, and I'm enjoying it. I mean, I will forever be a foreigner here in Korea, but I feel that I fit more in Korea than I do in the United States. Or I think I appreciate it more here in Korea than I do in the United States. So George pops up and says, I've noticed how polite tourists from Korea and Japan are when they come here to Nashville. Yeah, it's, I saw that as well. Being in California, being in different states in the United States, seems like the Asian cultures are a little bit more respectful, depending on the Asian culture, for the most part. But definitely Japanese and Korean are more respectful. There's always going to be bad apples everywhere, but as a whole, I think Korea is way more respectful than the United States, unfortunately. Can I say that without people getting mad? That's just based on my experience. So there's that caveat there. But yeah, other than that, we're enjoying it. We're pushing just over 3 years being retired here in Korea. Like I said, we're looking for a backup plan just in case, and I'm thinking the Philippines as a place to where if we get old, and well, you can be old and still be in good shape, but I think if you get to a point of where you need assisted living and things like that, I think the Philippines is going to be a good place for that as it is now, because the prices are inexpensive and you can get real good care. So that's kind of why we're looking at the Philippines as a backup plan. And if something happens in Korea, we go to the Philippines. That would be nice. But it's also in the ring of fire. So there's earthquakes galore, there's the typhoons, and it's like you definitely have to be very cautious in where you want to settle down. Let's see. George says, I've noticed how polite. Okay. George says, definitely take them over Canadians. Really? Wow. I all the Canadians I've met have been really nice. So, granted, it's not a big exposure to Canadians, but the ones that I have met have been nice and polite. But yeah, but I went to Canada once when I was stationed at Fort Lewis. We went up there and I was extremely drunk and I don't remember most of the trip, but apparently it was a good time up in Canada. I don't remember it. Sultan says, my friends and family often ask why I choose Korea instead of Japan. I usually tell them that for me, there's a spectrum. Japan on one end and China on the other. Oh, interesting. I can see that. I can see that. China's not getting, they're not getting good coverage here in Korea. There are a lot of people don't like China right now here in Korea. A lot of people are pissed off at the Chinese because you come to Korea and you relieve yourself in public, take a dump in public, by Gyeongbok Palace or whatever, or a national monument or historical monument or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's not cool. I don't know why Chinese people would do that, or those, I don't know, let's put it this way. I don't know why those Chinese people would do that if you're coming to visit another country. It's not like they could turn around and 15 feet away, there's a bathroom. I just don't get it. Sultan says, Korea and Hong Kong sits in the middle. I tend to stay away from extremes. So, yeah, I think it's good, Yeah, it's in the middle. I like it. I'm kind of looking forward to going to Japan and checking it out again. It's been so long. Holy crow, it's been so long. George says ones from Alberta are friendly ones, but the ones from the more French Canadian are more standoffish. Okay. Interesting about Canada. Yeah, I haven't met anybody from the French Canadian part of it. That's interesting. Interesting indeed. But yeah, I kind of agree with Sultan. Korea seems to be in the middle. I would say if you have China and Japan and Korea, yeah, it makes sense. I agree with that. I think it's a good look. Good assessment of the situation of what we got over. So yeah, but as far as like Thailand and stuff, the Thai people are great. Vietnamese people were great. They were a little standoffish, but then we only had limited time there. But with the people that we did get to know at like the coffee shops and stuff like that, because we would go back to the same coffee shops or whatever, so they would open up a little bit more. Again, it's kind of a tourist place, so just mindless bodies buying coffee or whatever. But we come in and say smile, smile and how are you doing? And hey, it's good to see you again. So they kind of opened up. That was kind of a good thing. George says we got a lot of medical tourists from Canada. Yeah, that I know. The Canadians that I'd talked to, yeah, they all came down to the United States to get treatment because it was so hard to get treatment in Canada. So yeah, I met a lot of them in California, Washington State, and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. The Canadians I've met have all said, yeah, they appreciate the American medical system. But then again, the American medical system that we have in the United States, they don't have national health care like they do here in Korea. Here in Korea, you pay, what is it, like $100, $110 a month, and boom, you're covered. You're good to go. But then again, Korea kind of limits the amount of BS with like pricing of goods and services. There's a lot of transparency. There's some limits that are set. So if you get an IV of Ringer lactate, up north or on the East Coast, West Coast, or down south in Busan or Mokpo or whatever it is, it'll be the same price. Where in the United States, they can just price it whatever they want, and it's kind of governed by insurance and what is the most we can charge that insurance will pay. And so it's kind of got this runaway effect with insurance and healthcare in the United States that we don't see in Korea. At least that's been my experience. So yeah, we could have national healthcare in the United States. Other countries like Korea do it. It's a workable model. There's other countries that do it as well. All you'd have to do is copy and paste, make a few little tweaks and changes, and boom, everybody in the United States could have national health care for a low price. But I think there's too much corruption on both sides of the political aisles to do that. And yeah, it's kind of a thing. So, well, anyway, so that's what we got going on. I think we're going to cut this short. I wasn't planning on talking this long or conversations and stuff like that, but I do appreciate it. It's always good. I got to get some dinner. I'm getting hangry, so we're going to leave it at that. But yeah, I'm going to try to keep things clean, organized. That's the thing for 2026, and we're going to continue doing some printing, and yeah, we'll get some upgrades to some equipment, better cameras, see if those work, and yeah, hopefully another printer, and then we'll drive on with that. Terry says, my wife worked with a lady that moved from Canada, and she told her doctors are only allowed to make so much a day. When they hit their limit, they close. Wow, that is crazy. Right. Well, it's not uncommon. The people I met from Canada, they were saying, yeah, to get like an MRI or get an X-ray, one person was saying, yeah, it's going to be 4 or 5 months before they could get an X-ray, and it's like they'll just come down to Washington or whatever, and boom, pay for it out of pocket, get it, take it back to Canada and see their doctor and get treatment. But there's a waiting list on getting that treatment. Yeah, it's paid for and everything, but getting the treatment is another thing. And then, of course, you have the taxes and all that stuff. Kind of crazy. But yeah, wow, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? If you go to the doctor and say, "Oh, sorry, I can't see you because yeah, I finished my quota and I can't work anymore. Reschedule for another appointment or with a different doctor." Imagine if everybody. Maybe that's why the wait times are so long for different procedures. Oh, and then they had that thing in Canada where it's like, veterans and stuff who had PTSD and whatever. They're like, oh, by the way, here's a kit where maybe you should consider unaliving yourself because, yeah, the treatment, it's just going to be a pain in the butt. It's going to take too long and blah, blah, blah. Why don't you just, leave permanently? That is insane. That is insane. The exact opposite of what the Hippocratic Oath says, to do no harm. There's, here, go harm yourself permanently to the point of where, yeah, that just doesn't make sense. Okay, that's going to be it. We're going to be good. I'm going to get some dinner. You all get breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or whatever you are, wherever you are. I'm sure, like Sultan, he's got to get his dinner as well. But yeah, we're going to continue on. We're going to have some fun during 2026. Whether a ton of people like it or not, I'm going to enjoy the journey and continue on. So if you like watching and enjoying the journey, hats off to you. I appreciate it and respect you as well. George says 12 U.S. states now have the MAID program. Wow, really? That's wild. I can understand a do not resuscitate, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. But I've had some times where it's like, yeah, I'd rather not be here than be here. So I can kind of understand why some veterans want to do that. I get that, but that the government, hey, go ahead and do it. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of like giving drugs and syringes to addicts and stuff like that. You don't need to do that. There's other ways. There's other things that you can do to help out people who have problems. George says Illinois just passed it. Why am I not surprised? So, yeah, I don't even know if they have stuff like that here in Korea. I don't think that's a thing. Um, that is very odd. I don't know. Interesting, interesting. If you're a terminal, I kind of understand it. Yeah, I get it. If you get terminal and you don't want to prolong the agony and the suffering, I understand that part. That I get. But for just kind of like the stories that I heard about Canada, it's just like, hey, you know, there you go. Just, we think the best thing, instead of you getting counseling, to deal with your PTSD and become, try to become a productive citizen and have a good quality of life, just check out. That would be better. that just doesn't make sense. Terry says Canada's trying to lower the age from 16 to 12. 16 to 12 for what? Don't say relations. You mean the age of consent from 16 to 12? What? That's like some crazy backwoods, insane, inbred. Oh, the MAID program is trying to lower the age from 16 to 12. What? That's crazy. Wow. What a crazy world we live in. Just try to keep our sanity, focus, just trying to be a good person. Crazy stuff, just don't, I'll have to look more into the MAID program and see more of the, I don't know if I want to look into the MAID program to find out the details. Who would have thought stuff like that would ever happen in our lifetimes? If you told people the stuff that is happening now to somebody 50 years ago, they would think that you were literally insane. You're a crazy person. There's no way. That's impossible. Nobody would do that. George says, driver, please stop the bus. I want off. Yeah. And with that being said, I'm gonna leave. I gotta eat. Starving. The wife is cooking. I can smell it. It's like, but the engaging conversation. You keep drawing me back. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to get off the bus and I'm gonna have to go eat. You all can travel on and whatever. But yeah, this is what we got going on. I just want to, I'm kind of proud of myself and cleaning things and organizing and throwing crap away that I don't need. So we'll continue that on through 2026. All right. With that being said, George, Terry, Sultan, all the other people that are on board, usually we have like, let's see, Ednoy, Terry, George, Go For It Painting. Good for stopping by and checking that out. Usually we have Ferrethus that pops in or Zombie Hunter. They're not here today. But yeah, maybe they'll stop by a little bit later. But yeah, that's it. Thanks. I appreciate it. And we will see you on the next video, all right? Peace. Peace. It looks so good. It's so clean. Clean. Look at that. Yes, yes, yes.